Okay, so hello guys. So for this discussion video, we have to learn about another type of hazards that might happen in a workplace. And this is one which is very familiar sa aton. We will have now fire safety and prevention. So we recognize kasi sa ka-workplace, there is a possibility and a tendency nga magka-fire and hindi gina siya naton ma-avoid and medyo mabudlayan man kita. So despite the fact nga may mga workplace that are trying their best to have fire detection kag fire prevention nga mga mechanisms or systems. But if fire happen, medyo budlay na sa aton mag-cope sina. So we have to understand the concept of fire before kita magadto sa kung paano siya naton i-prevent, paano siya naton i-detect. So I research and wala ko sa may makita nga data nga major recent siya katama which is regarding about fire and I um, found out ang na-research ko is the data nga present for the fire protection or sa BFP in the year 2016. So let us use this as our basis na lang para sa sininga discussion. In the year 2016, there are 19,292 fire incidents that was registered or that were registered. So out of these incidents, direct property loss is estimated at over 3 billion pesos. So imagine, because of the fire nga nag-transpire sa amo ng a year, so there is almost 3 billion pesos nga loss. So, of property. Approximately 285 Filipinos died and 987 are injured each year in fires. So, the government or the ang aton nga government diri sa Philippines, yes, they recognize nga nagkakatabo sini. That's why we have Fire Prevention Month nga gin-highlight naton kung ano ang danger, ano ang harm sini sa tao at the same time sa property man naton. So did you know that from January to December of crop year 2016, a total of 19,292 fire incidents occurred throughout the Philippines? The two leading causes of fire: number one, due sa electrical nga mga causes, and number two, open flame while cooking. So I have here a graph representing kung ano na siyang mga causes of fires, and it includes number one, we have electrical, we have open flames, we have fireworks, LPG tanks, combined heats, or heat, I mean, so we have cigarette butts, flammable liquids and chemicals. So ang iban ay hindi pa na-determine. So but take note that palabanan gid diri happens because of electrical gid ng mga faults. So did you know also that from the same period, more than two-thirds of these fire incidents, or it is 14,725, have been accidental in nature. So wala siya accident lang gid ang natabo. So most of this fire transpired in residential houses and structural buildings. So if lantawan naton, almost ini sa balay ni siya kakatabo. So there is a list lang bala or gamay-gamay lang nga possibility nga kakatabo siya in a specific na workplace, but we could not still be complacent or magsalig nga hindi ni pa possibly matabo in a workplace. So 285 civilians have died, while 93 firefighters and 894 civilians were injured due to these fires. So a total of almost 3 billion sa estimated damage based on submitted affidavit of loss. So before naton nakita na naton kung paano siya mag-damage or ano ang yan ang in-effect every year in our property and at the same time sa death man or loss of lives. So let us now investigate or let us learn more about the concept of fire. Ano ang fire? So ang fire, kabalo kita ginagamit na siya naton, it might be helpful but it could also be destructive. So it is more than a necessary evil. So if it is controlled, it provides warmth. So ginagamit na siya naton sa aton mga food. But if hindi siya naton makontrol, it will produce death and destruction. Because of the powers of fire, its unintentional origin and behavior are difficult to predict and determine. So if you could see in the picture, so amo ni ang kakatabo, amo ni ang scenario, amo ni ang real life nga or real nga event nga kakakitaan naton kisa sa Facebook, kakakitaan naton sa mga news. And we don't want this one to happen sa aton nga property kag sa aton mga loved ones. Let us now understand kung ano ang nature ng fire. In order to understand the behavior of fire, one must have an understanding of the chemical principle that control its origin, kag kung paano siya nag-spread, kung ano yung physical phenomena that result from its behavior. Fire itself is a chemical phenomenon. All fuels are synthetic or organic chemical compounds, and when fuel is ignited, the result is a chemical reaction with predictable physical effects. So here are the following facts na pwede natin associate with fire. A fire will double every 30 seconds under normal condition. In as little as 3 minutes, a small fire can erupt into a flash over. So a small fire can produce enough smoke to fill a building in minutes. Smoke results in teary eyes, choking sensation, impaired judgment due to carbon monoxide, loss of spatial recognition, sedation effect, or respiratory failure. So kabalo na kita sini, we are aware nga isa kuno sa naging problema kung ara ka under sa sina nga situation, for example is ang smoke gid. So medyo hindi ka kuno maka-act sa base bala sa nga makagwa ka sa specific nga sa ina nga fire tungod nga may mga smoke ka and dara ka mas makalain ng iyong mga kondisyon. So within minutes, air temperature in a burning room can reach 300 degrees Celsius. This temperature is hot enough to melt clothes, skin, and scorch your lungs in one breath. So temperatures can climb to between 650 to 760 degrees Celsius. So most people who die in fires die from breathing smoke and toxic gases. So this is what I am talking. So kudamo sa nagapatay tungod hindi tungod nga nasunog sila, but because they inhale sang mga harmful nga kag toxic nga mga gases. So dra na lang dayon because napatay na sila so nasunog sila. But first gid nga nag-cause ng ilang death is the toxic nga mga gases nga na-inhale nila. So carbon oxide, hydrogen cyanide, ammonia, and hundreds of other irritants attack your eyes, nose, throat, and lungs. They numb your senses and leave you dazed. So ang maging pang-mention natin ng mga gases should be discussed also. So we have number one, we have carbon monoxide. So it makes makes you disoriented and stops you from thinking and breathing. Another one, we have nitrogen oxide. It makes you breathe faster, which puts you to rest the option of holding your breath. Next, carbon dioxide mixes with moisture in the eyes, nose, and throat, which causes coughing and hacking, then turns into nitric acid, which starts to burn the tissue. So, imagine lang nga amoni kung ma-inhale ta ni, amo gini ang cause kalabanan sang death during the cases of fire. So normally, kung makita natin ang fire or may nagkakatabo, may transpire ng fire, ano ay ang normal natin nga reaction. So fire, it's oxygen and produces toxic gases. Since these gases are often have no taste or smell, we may not even be aware of them. But their effects can be devastating, such as danger of losing muscle coordination, mental alertness, making any action more difficult to make. So, gaka-apektuhan especially kung ara ka na sa sinang situation ang imong mga mindset wala ang imong gid nga mental alertness medyo gakaguba na. So brain can be affected by way of we are acting brilliantly when in fact we are acting in an ineffectual manner. Some affected the nervous system, acting like a anesthetic and causing no action at all. So ang iban, pamatyaga nila dasig sila maglagan, grabe iladlagan. But if tulukon gali sa ibang nga taho, wala sila gali So that is isa na sa mangin effect sa brain mo. Kay feel mo though you are working, you are doing but wala ka gali sa maginahimo. So para sa physical nga effects ng fire, so we have the following kung ano ang mga effects ng specific na temperature sa aton. So we have to gauge kung ano ang tolerance naton sa fire. So, at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, pwede pa naton ma-tolerate ang inaangang temperature, pero at a very limited period of time lang. When it reaches up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, so 15 minutes nga fire, so um, bali 15 minutes pa pwede ka pa na makastay. So 290 degrees Fahrenheit, so 5 minutes na lang. So 350 degrees Fahrenheit tolerated for less than a minute before the skin is damaged. So kung naglambot na sa 350 degrees ang temperature, so daan na nga masunog na yung mga skin. So when fire strikes, different reaction takes place. Most people are stunned for a moment, but then they begin to take emotional shock that render them incapable of taking action promptly or sometimes not at all. So this is what we are talking to Gina. So 25% assess the danger correctly and take prompt action. 50% greatly oppressed and not knowing what to do. Next, perceive the situation imperfectly and require strong urging to respond. So, kung tanawon din natin ang percentage, bala sang mga tao, bala nga naka-experience ng fire, amo na ilang mga reaction. So, kalabanan, gid, wala sila kabalo kung ano nila himuon. So, ang iban, medyo may ara man sang perception pa kung ano ang kinanglan himuon. But, still dako-dako gyapon ang percentage nga wala ka kabalo. Medyo may emotional siya kagid nga wala ka kabalo kung ano yung mahimoon. Okay, isa pa gid sa nagapahatag pa gid sang kalaing effect during sa sina nga situation kung may ara sang panic because of sa nagakita nato nga danger. So when the fear of imminent danger overwhelms certain persons, they usually get excited, and by the basic instinct of self-preservation, they move. This becomes contagious, and everybody attempts to escape from danger. So the crowd becomes guided by primitive impulse and reacts no differently from a horse of animals engaged in stampede. So this one, so especially for example sa mga dagko nga mga building, so nga damo-damo sang taho. So ang imo gid nga mangit una or initial ni mga reaction is pagkakita mo for example sang fire madalagan ka dayon sa kung sa diin ka pwede maka-exit. So tanan-tanan nga taho didto madalagan, and that will definitely cause pagid sang another nga accident. So now, medyo tanawon naton kung ano ang composition ng fire. So the diffusion flame process is the rapid self-sustaining oxidation process accompanied by the evolution of heat and light of varying intensities. So fire consists of three basic elements as represented by the fire triangle. So but there is already bago or the updated sining representation of fire, but I intend nga amo ni aton gamiton because this is the very basic nga representation of the composition of fire. So number one, we have heat, fuel, and or the composition includes heat, fuel, and oxygen. So these basic components have been recognized in the science of fire protection for over 100 years. So we have to look at this nga related gini sila, fuel, heat, and oxygen. Okay, so we have ano na ang oxygen, that is the ventilation naton. So normal air 21%, fire needs 16%. So ignition, so that will cause ang heat naton, energy needed to increase the temperature of the fuel for ignition to occur. So also wala sa may matabo nga fire kung wala sang fuel. Either it will be a solid, liquid, or gas nga fuel. Okay, so the combustion reaction can be depicted more accurately by four-sided solid geometric form called a tetrahedron. So this one, amo nang medyo updated. So we have the tetrahedron of fire. So the four sides represent heat, fuel, oxygen, and an inhibited nga chain. So gindugangan lang nila. So we have fuel, oxygen, so we have heat or the temperature, and then inhibited chain reaction of combustion process. Okay, we have different stages of fire. So we have number one, incipient stage, wala sang visible nga smoke or flame. So pero may ara na nag-start. Next, smoldering stage, there is smoke pero wala flame. So smoldering stage. Next, may ara na sang fire nga nag-exist and kag nag-build up na siya. flame stage na siya. Next, we have heat stage. There is uncontrolled spread of superheated air. So because of the presence ng flame, so pati ang hangin dara sa specific nga area, so init naman siya. Okay, we have also different classes of fire yung kinanglan i-recognize. Especially this one will be helpful sa mga civil engineers in making your buildings fireproof or be following the standards of the Bureau of Fire Protection. So number one, we have class A. So you have to recognize that there are ordinary combustibles na probably present in a specific nga offices or parts ng imong mga building. So we have trash, papers, woods, lumbers, and plastics. Class A na sila. Class B, mga flammable liquids. This includes grease, petroleum products, oil in it, and etc. Next, Class C, the very common sources of fires. Class C, we have electrical fires, or this includes also mga energized electrical appliances and equipments. So how fire spreads? Paano siya nag-spread? So actually, there are more classes of fire pa, but this one, amo lang niya ako include. So we have how fire spreads. So depending on the type of structures and the material a building is constructed from or made of, fires can spread quickly, engulfing a structure in the matter of minutes. So number one, pwede yung makakreate or makaspread ang fire by direct contact or by conduction with the flame catching from one object to another. So nagkalayo, then naglambot siya sa piyak, so that is by contact or by conduction. Next, by radiation. Energy is transferred by electromagnetic radiation. So with heat rays causing nearly combustible objects to burn into flames. Okay, so mga ang mga lapit sa iya, but hindi nga totally natandogin niya. So we have radiation. So we have convection. Through the action of heat arising within the structure, bringing along poisonous gases and smoke, the most life-threatening, fastest way fire travels. So by convection. So that was the introduction nga kinahanglan naton maintindihan about fire. So up next, in the next discussion video, we will have to discuss paano naton i-prevent ang fire, paano naton i-detect ang fire. So anong mga concept na ginagamit naton for a specific nga fire detection and fire prevention. So this is it for now. So I do hope you would work sa inyong activity kag term requirement. So thank you. Stay safe. God bless.